Subscribe to Nurture the Nature with Ananya and Aadya.
Everyone joining in. So, Pallavi has just sent her request. I'm just adding her up. Before she joins in today, I'm just giving an overview of what we're going to be talking about. So, we are going to be talking about bioenzymes with Pallavi, and we finally have her here. Also, an overview with respect to how how does it operate, how is it like being created, how are bioenzymes made at home. These are the certain flows with which we are going to go through. But without taking further delay, first of all, let us begin with Pallavi. Pallavi, please give the audience your introduction.
Hi Anjali and namaste to everyone. I am Pallavi Singh, an educator from Delhi Public School, Gandhinagar. I have a teaching experience of more than 10 years and I'm passionate about sustainable causes. My hobbies are video editing and spreading the message about environmental consciousness among my students and their parents. This is actually my hobby. And I have a keen interest in composting and gardening and now making bioenzymes too. So this is what I am. And during the pandemic, we teachers were forced to come out of our comfort zone. So we got an opportunity to learn many things about computers. So I used that challenge as an opportunity and learned many things about creating digital content. So I started my channel Nurture the Nature with Ananya and Aadya, and it is all about spreading environmental consciousness among the students and the children in my surroundings. So this is that.
That is a wonderful, wonderful journey. Like, it is always that, like, if there is harsh, if there's a hurdle that comes up your way, how do you create an opportunity out of this? The wonderful example that you're sharing during your period of COVID, like you mentioned,
COVID.
that you had done quite a research with respect to, and being a sustainable learner yourself. And now that you also mentioned about bioenzymes, right? So how did your interest with bioenzyme begin? With like how did the journey
Uh,
begin? When did you started learning about bioenzymes?
Actually, my journey with Bioenzyme has been very successful, but it started all because of composting. Because I have been doing composting for the past, I think, 6 to 7 years. And in the beginning, when I used to set the kitchen waste in the compost bin, over one period of 1 year, I noticed that the pace of decomposition varies from different seasons. So in winters, I noticed that the decomposition rate decreases, and I wanted to find out the reason why. So when I researched, I read and I saw many videos on it. So I concluded that when we put citrus fruit peels in the kitchen compost bin, the rate of decomposition may decrease. After all, these are all natural things, so they will decompose. And when we mix garlic peels and all in the same compost bin, then the compost which you get, it will take more time. So I started looking for other alternatives for the citrus fruit peels which are I was having every day, we were having in the kitchen, in a kitchen waste. So then I found about these bioenzymes, and I started setting different jars for bioenzymes. And then I came to know about, and I started with first I started with lemon peels only, and then I experimented with the mix of orange peels and lemon peels, and slowly, when I realized that I am successful in making them and as well as using them, then I explored and some flower bioenzymes and neem leaves bioenzymes. I have tried all these things. Many few things I have tried in bioenzymes. So it for me it is a successful journey as far as
That's
bioenzymes are
wonderful,
concerned.
the wonderful note. Especially what I keep on thinking about is that since we're living in the era of digital area, right? And everything
Mm.
happens to be in the tip of your fingertips. It's like, you just place
Mm.
an order and you get those chemicals that you use as
Uh,
a cleaner or
uh,
something like that. So how
uh,
different are they from what you find in the market? Because there is always a conflict where you're trying to use those cleaners that are already available in the market, and
Yeah.
this is one type of a magical potion that you basically source everything out of the
Everything.
environment that you're living in.
Environment.
So,
Uh,
what are like? Why would one transition to bioenzymes?
First
While
thing,
most things are available in the
huh.
market.
So the most important thing which we need to understand is that the cleaning agents which are available, they are chemical based, and they are overloaded with harmful chemicals like phosphates, nitrates, ammonia, and chlorine, and they contribute in polluting environment in every possible ways. And these harmful chemicals pollute our water bodies. Every day we are using these harmful chemicals, and through our drainage system they are entering into the water bodies, because most of the places the water which is entering into the main rivers and water bodies, natural water bodies, lakes and all, they are entering without being treated. So we need to replace these chemical cleaning agents with natural cleaning agents like bioenzymes. And bioenzymes, we need to understand and remember that they are organic solutions which we can make with the process of fermentation of vegetable peels and fruit peels. And they are the amalgamation of proteins, complex protein salts and other organic materials which are released in bioenzyme during the process of fermentation by the bacteria as the byproducts. So they are totally eco-friendly, and making of bioenzyme is actually very easy and simple. They are inexpensive, pocket friendly too. So, and if we will use bioenzymes every day to clean our toilets, wash basin, drainage pipes, so it will enter into the water bodies, and we will contribute in cleaning the water bodies. So that is
That
very important.
I think that's a very strong point that you mentioned, that because many people have a myth related to related to their particular cleaners, that at the end of the day, once they are into their house using those chemicals, cleaning up,
Uh,
there's no repercussions of it. There is
uh,
a repercussion, and that
uh,
actually that you mentioned, that the
uh,
lakes are basically filled with foam, and that
uh,
foam is basically entered by those chemicals that we are using into our
uh,
household purposes or
uh,
anywhere that we're going through.
uh,
So, Pallavi, which follows me by my next questions, you have happened to mention that these are organic, right?
hmm, hmm,
And these are all of these materials that you're using it from the source are all easily available into your home.
yes.
So, what is that application where you can use this bioenzymes? Before we go through that, what
Hmm,
are the elements which require for making a
hmm.
bioenzyme?
Mm. So first, I would like to tell you about the citrus fruit biocleaners. They are known as multi-purpose cleaning agents. Okay, so you can use the bioenzymes which you make from lemon peels or mix of orange peels or only orange peels, uh, completely in every possible way. So some of the uses are like they can act as a dirt remover. So suppose if your wall has some stains, you can just mix 10 ml of bioenzyme in 1 liter of bottle and spray on the walls, or any particular stain on your cloth or anything you can spray, and it will take time, but slowly with the repeated use it will clean. And these are natural cleaners, so they will not be very harsh on the surface, and you can clean it easily. And secondly, they are very good uh, pest controller. Like bioenzymes, naturally they are known for repelling insects, ants, and other, even lizards and sometimes rats too, depending on what bioenzyme you are using, and without that too, without killing. तो you will live guilt free कि हमने किसी को मार नहीं दिया. And then one more thing, like pet care, you can give bath to your dogs and cats by diluting the bioenzyme in one bucket, suppose it is of 10 to 20 liters, you can add 10 ml in the beginning, and then you see that, because the dogs and pets will not have any kind of allergy, so they are very good for them. Plant care can be done because these bioenzymes act as a very good soil conditioner. You can mix little bioenzyme like in the proportion of 1:100 in for plant watering in the plants, and for foliar spray you can mix it in 1:, I don't remember the ratio, 100, I think the same. 1 ml in 1 liter for foliar spray.
Of water, yes.
And uh, and all like these, and one more very important use which I personally like drainage clean declogging. So I always put 10 to 15 or maybe 20 ml just without diluting at night. Every week you can put it in all the drainage holes, and the drains will be you can declog them. And हमें बहुत पर्सनली अच्छा लगता है कि हमने कुछ माइक्रोन्यूट्रिएंट्स डाल दिए तो वाटर बॉडीज क्लीन होंगी. दिस इज द हैप्पीनेस व्हिच यू विल गेट.
I think
So
the applications that you shared, like, because this is a myth
and
again, there's a reason myth is attached.
हाँ, and
So
this is
yeah, please
this was
continue.
about this was about citrus fruit peels, and there are other bioenzymes too. Like I people generally don't recommend making bioenzyme with garlic peels because they're dry and they will give a very bad smell. But I always make it, and I use it as an insecticide spray. And I used to grow my own vegetables on my terrace. So these garlic peel bioenzyme was extremely useful in killing the insects or all types of mealybugs or white flies which were infected on the plants. So it was very beneficial in case of plants growing vegetables.
I think
And
all
neem.
of the beneficiaries that you shared across, like, because these are all used everywhere. Like, we
Hmm,
have, we have bathrooms, we have certain kitchens, we have pantries, we
hmm,
have everything. So
hmm,
this works out for residentials, even for the workplaces where you're having one. Like, these are
hmm.
all like you mentioned, these are multi-purpose cleaners. So their
Multi-purpose bio.
applications, yes, their applications goes into the gardens. Their applications goes
Hmm.
at places where there is,
Everywhere.
cleaning involved.
Hmm.
Yes. And
And
also,
bioenzymes have the potential of entering into very minute cracks and holes where other chemicals cannot enter. So they are wonderful, and we should definitely go for it.
that's it. So I think when we mentioned out the applications which were as good as, like, because why I keep on mentioning this again and again is that anything that you find in the market, there is a replacement for it. And
Replacement.
why is this replacement going to be turning into better interest for
Hmm.
everyone, for individuals, for the environment that you're around, for being able to live that guilt free, that you're doing something without having to hamper anything else, is
Else.
how any
That is
particular
very
item.
important.
So that's how sustainability comes into picture. That's how sustainable development comes into picture. And as a sustainable learner, you always have that particular interest. Now you mentioned about the applications, what are the myths around it. Now we really want to understand what are these ingredients, because people think it's expensive, right? This is also one thing.
Hmm.
Like, but you mentioned that it's pocket friendly. So what are those
Hmm.
sources via which a bioenzyme is made? And then followed by which we'll put up a lot of pointers ahead.
Hmm.
So, what are the
So
key
first
ingredients that
thing,
you like to make about it?
bioenzymes are extremely pocket friendly because everything you will get in your kitchen to set up a bioenzyme jar. Okay. So first thing, it depends that what type of cleaner you want to make. Generally, people should start with citrus fruit peels only because they are the multi-purpose bio cleaners. So if you are doing it for the first time, I would recommend that you should go for citrus fruit peels only, and then little bit of jaggery. गुड़ सबके घरों में होता है, हम सब खाते हैं. और पानी is water is everywhere. तो जो है we can use we have to use water, citrus fruit peels and jaggery. So should I show it to you?
Yeah, I mean, if you can show it all along, and also for people who don't know, like, because people want to be clarifying and understanding what are the citrus peels, what can be coming under. So I think
अच्छा.
the base example is like having oranges, having
Or
lemons,
orange peels, lemon peels,
lemon peels.
pineapple peels, because these are the commonly, and you can mix them, but I prefer setting up the bottles separately because of the fragrance, because lemon and orange, this is my personal opinion, that when we set up the bottles separately of lemon peels and orange peels, they will get you will get a very beautiful fragrance, and pineapple peels and all. Okay.
Okay.
And other
Uh,
other bioenzymes you can set up with neem leaves, which can act as an insecticide and cleaner, also antibacterial. It will have antibacterial property when you will clean your cupboards and refrigerators, even microwaves, ovens. And these orange peel bioenzymes are very good on these gadgets, when we want to clean our TV screen and laptop screen. They are not harsh at all. They are very gentle, and they will not damage your electric appliances.
Okay. So, what I was actually going through, like you mentioned, these three ingredients that are easily available at our homes. Like,
Mm.
so what is the proportion that you actually have to, use for creating it out? And one of the most important points that I actually wanted to mention, there have been like, questions related to, in which kind of container can you make it? Like, what
Container.
can use the already existing bottles?
Uh.
So, if you could just
So,
put out those points as
so
well.
first thing regarding the related to the ratio, you have to remember three numbers: 1, 3, and 10. So one part of jaggery is required, and three parts of any peels which you are using. Suppose you are using lemon peels, and suppose you are taking one small katori of jaggery, then the same katori should be used for taking the three parts of orange peels, and same utensil you should use for taking 10 parts of water. So one part jaggery, three parts of peels, uh, totally your choice which peels you are using, and 10 parts of water. This is the standard, these are the standard ingredients, and the 1, 3, and 10 number you need to remember. And apart from this, sometimes some people add yeast also, baker's yeast, to speed up the process of fermentation. That is totally optional, you can add. And the jar, the points which you need to remember are that the jars should be plastic only. Glass jars should be not to be used, because they cannot expand and there may be an explosion. तो आपको पहली बार में थोड़ा सा खतरनाक एक्सपीरियंस हो जाएगा. और the metal containers, metal jars you should not use, because these bioenzymes are acidic in nature, so they will have corrosion will set in. So it is metal and glass containers are not at all recommended, and plastic jars. And prefer you should go for the broader mouth, जिसका थोड़ा सा मुंह broad हो. And one more thing, storage. How to, when you set the bioenzyme, where to store. So you should always store it in the shady area, so, under the shade, never under the sunlight. Direct sunlight नहीं लगनी चाहिए. और दूसरा कि when you will set up the bioenzyme bottle, every day you have to unscrew it. That is very important, because the gas release is there. Gases are released inside the container. So to release those gases every day is important. In the beginning, at least for 15 days. At least for 15 days, you should open it, because I used to open it twice. People say that you should do it once, but my experience says that you should open twice. Not open the full cap. I just used to unscrew it. That is important, because what I feel, that bioenzymes are made under anaerobic conditions, that is in the absence of oxygen. So if every time we will open the full cap and we allow the oxygen to enter every day, that is not good for bioenzyme. Because I had this experience, some type of larva, when I one in few years back, I set up, I tried to make 50 liters of bioenzyme in one go. तो वो एक्सपेरिमेंट थोड़ा ज्यादा एम्बिशियस एक्सपेरिमेंट हो गया था. और फॉर दैट आई यूज्ड अ बकेट, जिसका सिर्फ कंटेनर, एक ढक्कन सा था. तो एवरी टाइम आई यूज टू ओपन. दिस इज माय कंक्लूजन. ये आई मे बी रॉन्ग, क्योंकि वो जो लार्वा उसमें जनरेट हुआ, मे बी बिकॉज माय रेशियो वाज इनकरेक्ट, and the oxygen every time I was opening, so a lot of oxygen was entering. So maybe because, but I didn't throw that. I have used all the amount which I created, because these are the few points which you need to remember.
I think you highlighted a very important point here as well, that like, it takes a period of at least how so like you mentioned that bioenzymes take a little time to create, but
Mm.
during the first 15 days while you're doing this proportion of creation, you'll have to open the bottle cap in order for gases to
Mm.
release. You said this first three contents that are being required, the bottles that are you specifically use. So I'd like to point out here as well that any person must have, bought a plastic bottle in their lives, and somewhere it's lying around in your homes and your corners. So any good plastic bottle with a good space volume and a small, capsule space from which, you can put out your peels and create your, you can add all of these ingredients which are mentioned in the proportion of 1 is to 3 is to 10. So you mentioned. Now,
Mm.
as you were mentioning that should I, kind of show the kind of bioenzymes that I have created. So if you can just show around, what
Mm.
are the kind of bioenzymes that you've already
Mm.
created, and so that, the audience have clarity that all they require
Mm.
is one bottle, like you mentioned, some good citrus peels and water, all in the
What?
proportion of 1 is
Yeah.
to 3 is to 10.
Yeah.
So, can you please show us the kind of bioenzymes you have already created?
So see, first I started using this kind of bottle. See, can you see this bottle?
Yes.
So the first bioenzyme which I made, so when the problem is that when we put the peels, we have to cut the peels, and when we put it, then uh, after filtering the bioenzyme, it is difficult to take out those peels. So what I recommend, the type of jar which you should is, it should be like this. Can you see this? This so
Yes.
this I find perfect for setting up the bioenzyme, because it has the screw system also. We can just unscrew it. We don't need to open the lid every time. This is the ready bioenzyme. हमने filter करके रख लिया, तो I have no problem in opening. But during the process, though, during those 3 months, if you are using without yeast, the bioenzyme will take 3 months. If you are using with yeast, it will be ready in 2 months. And once your first batch is ready, you don't need to throw the pulp in the dustbin. You can throw it in your kitchen compost bin, and you can use the bioenzyme which is already ready. Just add 2-3 spoons in your new batch. So it will be ready in 1 month or 45 days. So that is important. And uh, after filtering, you can store in different types of water, whatever. So this is the orange peel bioenzyme, and it is the older one. So you can see the color will change. Bioenzymes, the color will change. शुरू में वो लाइट रहते हैं, एंड जितना पुराना उतना अच्छा. So bioenzymes don't have any expiry date. They may, if you will store them properly and in dark area or shady area, then they will be active for a longer period of time. और अगर आपने गर्मी वाली एरिया या हाई टेम्परेचर एरिया में रखा, then the molecules will break and the enzyme will become inactive. But वो खराब नहीं होता है.
So, on it, on average, how much, what is the time duration for one bioenzyme to be made? Like,
मतलब
one
this
capsule
one, see this,
as a,
see, you can see the color. These are the same orange peels. Okay, this is my fresh lot. Okay, and this is 2 years old. So you can see the change in the color.
yes, yes, we can definitely see the change in
And
the
I
color.
have, I think, more than 20 bottles or 30 bottles. So that's why I could show you the old batch also. Okay.
Yes.
So you just see the color will change. And this is lemon peels. So again, this is an old batch. So the lemon peels, it is very light golden. So it has become darker. So jitna purana utna acha. And one point, literally it skipped. So when it will come
Please take your
to my
time.
mind,
Please take your time to, process out whatever like
हाँ.
have in your mind.
And
Yes,
rose, we should avoid putting rotten fruit peels. अगर उसमें कुछ सड़ गया तो बिल्कुल ना डालें. और ड्राई फ्रूट पील्स वी शुड अवॉइड. बट जैसे कि गार्लिक के तो ड्राई पील्स ही होते हैं. एंड आई हैव यूज्ड garlic peels to make, and it acts as an insecticide. Let me show you this one. So you cannot see because I have tried to remove the sticker, but the garlic peel bioenzyme, and I have this measuring cup. इसको यूज बहुत करते हैं हम कि 10 ml, और फॉलियर स्प्रे में बहुत काम आता है. तो ये इंसेक्ट इट इज अ वेरी गुड इंसेक्टिसाइड. तो हम हमेशा ये गार्लिक पील्स वाला तो हमेशा बनाते हैं, बिकॉज आई एम अ गार्डनर टू
yes.
फॉर माई
I
प्लांट.
think that an urban gardener is inside all of us who is like, trying to experiment to grow whatever kind of
हाँ हाँ
vegetables, or, trying your hands into all of these plants growing. So,
हाँ
Pallavi, my question to you was, because I'm a beginner, I know, and so I have now understood that I require a proportion of 1:3:10. And
हाँ
once I add that material, like once I add that into my plastic bottles, like the jars you
हाँ
mentioned,
हाँ
and right after that, in the first 10 days, I've started opening the bottle so that gas could be released. Now, how would I recognize the bioenzyme is made? What is the time duration for one bioenzyme? You just mentioned us or showed
हाँ
us a bottle which is a newly freshly made lemon
हाँ
bioenzyme. So,
हाँ.
what
So
is the duration that it takes to make it out? And how does one recognize that a bioenzyme is already made?
That is a very important question, that how will you recognize whether it is ready. So generally, if you will follow all the instruction, correct ratio you have used of 1 part jaggery, 3 parts lemon peels or fruit, any fruit peel, and 10 parts of water, then you and if you are releasing the gases every day, then it will be ready in 3 months, and this is without yeast. And if you will use yeast 1 tablespoon or half tablespoon or 1/4 tablespoon depending on the bottle size, then it will take 2 months. And but I prefer doing it without yeast, because I'm very particular about that fragrance which comes after orange peel and lemon peel. तो मतलब दिस इज माय एक्सपीरियंस दैट ईस्ट के साथ थोड़ा सा नेचुरल फ्रेग्रेंस चेंज हो जाता है. So that's why I prefer making lemon peels and orange peels ones without yeast. But you can use it, and as I told earlier, that once the first batch is ready, you can, in your next batch, you can use the old bioenzyme. You can add 1 or 2 or 3. जैसे हम लोग दही में करते हैं ना, पुराना वो दही थोड़ा सा ऐड करते हैं, so that it's the same concept कि you can add. So next time when you make a new batch, and if you add the bioenzyme from your old batch, then it will take 1 month or 45 days. वो 3 months, 1 month to 45 days में convert हो जाएंगे. That is the thing. And how you will know that these are ready. So first thing you need to understand. एक मिनट, ये clear वाली bottle लेते हैं. This one. Can you see this
Yes.
sedimentation kind of thing, these peels? So when you will set up your bioenzyme, and the peels you will notice that over the period of time, the small lemon peels or orange peels, they will get converted into powdery substance and they will settle down. Okay, and you will have the clear solution. And if you will store it for the more period, then the solution will get darker and darker with course of time. This is one signal that your bioenzyme is ready. Second, if you will smell it, it will smell like a vinegar, almost like a vinegar. And these will have some fruity smell also, lemon and orange, but it smells like vinegar. And the third step is you can test on some your slab, like kitchen slab. And when you will spray it on some oily surface, you can easily be able to clean it. So these are the 3 tests which will tell you that the enzyme is ready to use.
Okay, so if I were to summarize this part as well, so for you to recognize it, you'll understand that these pearls will start, dissolving and being settling, down
Hmm.
the bottle. That's when you
Hmm.
realize that, the process is being developed and created. And secondly, like you mentioned, that when you start using the applications at
Hmm.
various different places, that's when you can kind of mention. So Pallavi, also I'd like to mention it here for people that so what happens is once after you completed the period and batch of around 60 to 90 days, once it's being
हाँ
created, it is not that the entire pulp might, get dissolved or in terms of,
हाँ
might go into a certain set of portion.
हाँ
What
हाँ
one can do is they can use that next very pulp, like you mentioned,
हाँ
into the next batch of bioenzyme so that
yes
the
yes
process
बिल्कुल
of fermentation and
हाँ
makes it faster. So
फास्ट है
when you start making this next batch of bioenzyme, that
हाँ
batch will take probably somewhere around 45 to 60 days to
45
create instead of
हाँ
those
हाँ
90 days, like
90
you mentioned for that
हाँ
particular thing.
हाँ हाँ
Now, Pallavi, we meant like for as a beginner, talking about my trial and error, I've done it only with citrus peels. You talked
हाँ
about garlic. So, what are other different types of bioenzymes that one can create? Like you
हम्म,
just mentioned for garlic. Is there any other way? Like maybe people have a myth that there are flowers that you cannot use for making
हाँ
bioenzymes, but there are,
हाँ
right?
like
So, if you can
so
highlight that.
फ्लावर्स आर फ्लावर्स कैन बी यूज्ड जो हम लोग जनरली घरों में पूजा में यूज होते हैं तो उन फ्लावर्स को स्पेशली पीपल सम मोस्ट ऑफ अस विल वांट कि प्रॉपर उसको विसर्जित कर दें या उनको डस्टबिन में लोग नहीं डालते हैं जो फ्लावर्स वो वर्शिपिंग जैसे पर्पसेस में यूज करते हैं तो दे थ्रो इट इन द वाटर बॉडीज so instead of doing that they can use those flowers and set up the bioenzyme jars एंड लाइक मेरी गोल्ड गेंदे का फ्लावर सबसे ज्यादा घरों में आता है रोज तो गेंदे का जो पेटल्स होती हैं यू कैन सेपरेट द पेटल्स सेम प्रोसीजर सेम रेशियो 1 part jaggery 3 parts of marigold leaves petals sorry and then water 10 parts and this marigold has beautiful fragrance and it is used as an insecticide वो बहुत strong insecticide बनता है generally you can use it in floor cleaning also but it is used as an insecticide and the rose petals can be used in the same way and you can use it as room freshener floor cleaning and all and neem bioenzyme neem leaves you can do the same procedure, follow the same method to set up your jar, and that can act as an antibacterial cleaner for your refrigerator, microwave, and all. And this one, citrus one can be mixed with soap nut वो रीठा होता है ना जिसको कि so you can set up
Yes.
those together or separately soap nut का आप एक अलग से setup कर सकते हैं and that can be used very effectively for washing your clothes. Honestly, हमने अभी ये soap nut वाला नहीं try किया है. तो rose I have tried, marigold and garlic and neem and tulsi leaves also. Tulsi leaves are also very good antibacterial property. So you can
Antibacterial
use
property,
हाँ
right?
tulsi leaves. Hibiscus leaves can be mixed together. That can be one combination, which is very good for hair wash. But I have not tried it. I have only seen it and read about it. And aloe vera, but I'm planning to do all these experiments. कि अब next hair wash and face wash and hand wash पे हम experiment करेंगे, but I have not done it right now. So, but these are popular bioenzymes. Aloe vera combination, you can use aloe vera leaves and that is a very good hair conditioner. उसका bioenzyme same we have to dilute and then use. Bioenzymes का direct application आप skin और hair पे नहीं कर सकते because they are acidic in nature. It is very important to dilute them.
I
Okay.
think, like you mentioned, that maybe not for the hair applications or skin
हाँ
applications we can use,
हाँ
but like
हाँ
you mentioned that for washing your hands, and if you want to like really get away with those cleaners that you basically use for washing your hands and everything, one of these experimentation that I have observed is when you add soap nuts that you soak in those soap nuts with
हाँ
a considerable amount of bioenzyme that also serves as a hand cleaner, like you washing up your hands. So that also one way works out. You mentioned like this is what I actually wanted to come up through is like generally as me as a customer where I come from or if I am there to cure something, I usually go with the order. I usually go with the aesthetics that are being involved in all. But this again also falls into the bioenzymes. Is like if you're kind of, people choose to avoid it because there's smell coming around, but it is not in the exact idea and picture that I want to put it through. The order
Hmm.
of bioenzymes is as beautiful and as fragrance like that you might find. It might be a little lesser in consideration and in proportion, but if you talk about, because as I said, my experiences are with citrus peels. And at the end, when it's being entirely created, the fragrance of that or the odor of that bioenzyme is as good as
Hmm.
that you find it everywhere. Also looking at the
Hmm.
proportions, because it was, it is very good on your pockets. It is cheap on your pockets.
Hmm.
You can easily source it out
Hmm.
from those of these chemicals. So it is just trying to understand that what you're actually looking forward in one is the exact same in value that you're getting into the other. In fact, the value is a way lesser, but time period is a little more in conscious. But once you get hands to it, bioenzymes
Hmm.
is the best quick option that you can replace for your chemical cleaners in certain
Hmm.
applications for sure. But I think one day at a time is how we consider. Like, take one step and start taking a
Haan.
transition towards that one
You
particular thing.
need to, haan. Actually, it is difficult to go back to our basics because we have the habit of using chemical based things, and it is not an easy task to switch to sustainable living because these natural things you
Particular thing.
need to, actually it is difficult to go back to our basics because we have the habit of using chemical based things, and it is not an easy task to switch to sustainable living because these natural things will not have any chemical and they will not give you immediate results, so you will think that they are not good enough. So you need to have a strong willpower to ensure that you want to use it, and secondly you need to have lots of patience that you will try because these things will need experiments, and trial and error theory is must for these bioenzymes and any natural ways of living. So should I show you? I have this sorry, sorry. I have
That's
this
all right.
jar. So should I give you a small demo?
Yeah, yeah, that would be wonderful if because we have wonderful people who have connected here,
Hmm.
and if at all if they can really check
Uh,
out the live,
huh.
I am sure they must be
So
looking
see
forward to
this.
it.
This is a jar which I have selected for today's demo. This is a Bonvita jar, and why I have selected it because it has a
A
broad
wider
uh,
space.
opening, and it has the unscrew system because once the bioenzyme will be set, I don't prefer it. Some people have the habit of releasing the gas like this. They just open the whole cap and then they stir it. I recommend that we should not do like this. We should never open the full cap to release the gas. We should always just unscrew. इसको ऐसे करके छोड़ना चाहिए. So what I have done, let me show you. These I will be using this size of uh, because I am doing it on a small scale. So I have selected the small katori, और इसमें हमने इसी का आई विल बी यूजिंग 3 parts ऑफ लेमन पील्स जो हमने एक्चुअली ऐसे निकाल के कट करके रखा हुआ है. यू कैन सी.
Yes, I can.
हाँ, तो लेमन
I
पील्स को
hope you
हमने
agree.
थोड़ा सा छोटे छोटे पीसेस में कट कर लिया है. ओके आप वैसे भी डाल सकते हो पूरा, बट आई प्रेफर डूइंग इट बाय चॉपिंग. थोड़ा छोटा कर लेते हैं. और सेम दीज आर 3 parts ऑफ दिस कटोरी ऑफ लेमन पील्स, एंड देन आई हैव टेकन जैगरी. ये जैगरी एक्चुअली पूरा होना चाहिए, बट हमने अभी थोड़ा कम लिया हुआ है. ये एक्चुअली फुल होना चाहिए कटोरी. क्लियर. 1 part फुल ऑफ दिस जैगरी. एंड ये कंटेनर में जो वाटर हमने आई हैव कलेक्टेड, दिस इज 10 parts of
Thanks.
this same thing I have used. So this is very simple. Let me be very little careful, otherwise
Please be careful.
तबाही हो जाएगी यहाँ पे. 1 minute. So we will add this jaggery, और जनरली व्हेन आई मेक तो जैगरी को हम डाल के ना थोड़ा देर छोड़ देते हैं सो दैट इट कैन डिजॉल्व प्रॉपरली.
Dissolve well, right?
हाँ, so I allow the jaggery to set in the water and get dissolved. आपको दिख रहा है? Can you see?
Yes, yes, I can see that.
इसको हम थोड़ा सा इधर रखेंगे तो ये गिर जाएगा. So
So I
let
think
me
why she added the jaggery is like, so adding jaggery, adding
add.
citrus.
Some people ask that we should add sugar too. We can replace jaggery with sugar. Actually, you can replace, because jaggery. What is the purpose of adding jaggery? Is that jaggery is a source of carbohydrates, and carbohydrates, as we all know, that these carbohydrates are energy giving food. And for bacteria, because the fermentation is done by the bacteria called bacillus, which need some energy, उसको भी काम करने के लिए energy चाहिए होगी. तो that energy the bacteria will get during the process of fermentation from this jaggery. जैगरी का यही काम है कि बैक्टीरिया को एक्टिव रखना, उसको it acts as a source of energy. We can do it with sugar also. Sugar is also a source of carbohydrates, but जो nutrient value जैगरी की है वो शुगर से सुपीरियर है. सो आई प्रेफर डूइंग इट विद जैगरी ओनली. आप शुगर यूज कर सकते हो, बट वो जो इफेक्टिवनेस होगी बायोएंजाइम की वो थोड़ी रिड्यूस हो जाती है. जैगरी से इट इज बेटर.
Okay. So now if we have any question related to why it's jaggery, I think she's answered it first. Ki why is jaggery required? Now she's putting up this.
So now we have to just see. I have just added the jaggery. और कोई रॉकेट साइंस नहीं है. हम लोग रॉकेट नहीं बना रहे हैं, हम लोग बायोएंजाइम बना रहे हैं. तो बस ऐड करना है और इसको बंद कर देना है. और इफ यू सी वन इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट कि जब हम ऐड कर रहे हैं तो ये कंटेनर शायद थोड़ा छोटा है, क्योंकि व्हेन वी इसमें ना पूरा 20% खाली रहनी चाहिए स्पेस. दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट व्हेन वी सेट, क्योंकि व्हेन आई collected the water which was equivalent to 10 parts, तो आपने नोटिस किया होगा बिगनिंग में ये यहाँ तक एम्प्टी था जार, बट ड्यू टू दिस पील द वाटर अभी ये स्पेस कम हो गई है एयर रिलीज के लिए. तो माय कंटेनर इज लिटिल स्मॉलर. लेट मी अगर हम इसे इसमें कन्वर्ट कर वो डाल दे तो आई वांट टू शो यू कि कितनी स्पेस होनी चाहिए एक कंटेनर में. लेट मी ट्रांसफर इट इन दिस फर्स्ट.
So I think a very highlighted point is shared here कि any container you choose, and after you are adding your proportions of water, jaggery, and citrus peels, you should make this marker in advance that it should have a space of 20 or at least I guess
20%. हाँ, इतना जैसे कि ये तो ऑलमोस्ट हाफ है, इसको हम थोड़ा सा और फिल कर सकते थे, बट इतनी स्पेस होनी चाहिए गैस रिलीज के लिए. एंड एवरी डे यू हैव टू अनस्क्रू. Every day you have to unscrew, and don't forget to write the date. आप डेट जरूर लिखें मार्कर से, so that you can calculate कि after 3 months it will be ready, and वो आपको अपने आप दिख जाएगा. The peels will settle down, the clear liquid will you can see the clear liquid, और फिर वो the fragrance will be like vinegar, fruity vinegar. Okay.
Okay.
So is it?
So I think if people were to remember this one scenario, I think this is what we have universally seen. Like if you're having any cold drinks or you've bought any bottle of Thumbs Up or probably Sprite or anything, you would always think of why this portion is is why haven't they filled it completely. And it is in the same manner then when you like mix them, and then when you're trying to open up, you do it very slowly, right? Because gas is going to be released, so it might automatically come out. And in this very same manner, you do it for bioenzymes.
If you can, I think this has some gas, so I will try to open it. So you can hear the sound. आप लोग साउंड पे ध्यान दीजिएगा, पर हमें थोड़ा सा डर लग रहा है क्योंकि ये
एकदम स्लो पे लीजिएगा so that this doesn't spill up.
आपको साउंड सुनाई दे रही है?
Yeah, we're able to hear like a little bit of sound that is coming up. Yes. And if you can also see that how it's turning up into a certain set of portion of gases which are coming up,
Because ये bioenzyme हाँ. So now see, the earlier the bottle was very tight. I could not. अभी ये हम इसको ऐसे press कर सकते हैं. You know,
Hmm.
earlier the bottle was very tight, and if you could have heard the sound, कि वो sound gas release की sound आ रही थी. Okay, and never do this experiment. Some people, एक हमने खुद किया हुआ है. I was trying to be over smart. तो ऐसे ऐसे करके ना shake करके, तो the whole
Exactly.
bioenzyme
It
वो
turns up.
हाँ, तो वो पूरा बायोएंजाइम बाहर आ गया, बिकॉज इट इज जस्ट लाइक वो जो पेप्सी एंड कोक हाउ वी डू इट ना, तो पूरा फिज बन के बाहर आ जाएगा. सो यू हैव टू बी वेरी केयरफुल व्हेन यू आर ओपनिंग और अनस्क्रूइंग द दिस बॉटल्स. ओके.
So I think we have summarized a lot of things and pointers here. Like, you know, while we are creating it, what are the precautions that we have to particularly take? What is the
Hmm.
essentials for, what is the essentials? Because you cannot compromise over the ratio of 1 is to 3 is to 10, because that's
Hmm.
been, that's been created in such a manner that you'll have to,
Huh.
create. And this is like a standardized version for creating any kind of bioenzyme.
Any kind
As
of
you said, for
bioenzyme.
the citrus peels, like
Hmm.
we talked about the flowers, like we talked about the vegetable peels, and like we talked about the fruit peels as well. Because the initial beginning of our conversation began with, the fruit peels, how we can use them to in
Hmm.
order to create bioenzymes. We
Hmm.
have learned about the applications and everything. I think most of our doubts are cleared. If any way people have any queries with respect to a different type of set of questions that they have in mind, you can definitely, put them down into the comments so that we can take those questions and answer you for
Hmm.
that.
Anjali,
Also,
I have listed down some ratios of mixing the bioenzymes. Should I read it out
yes,
for you?
please,
Because
please, please, ma'am, please, please. Till then, we can tell the audience to put the
so you
query
all
questions that
can,
they
those who
have
are
in their
listening,
mind.
they can actually note it down, because generally these ratios I tend to forget. So these are ratios for using the multi-purpose biocleaner, which is lemon and citrus fruit biocleaner. So I have noted down these ratios for when we are using it as floor cleaner. So you need to put 10 ml bioenzyme in 10 to 12 liters of water. 10 ml in 10 to 12 liters of water. And when we are using as mosquito repellent or room freshener, then you need to mix 15 ml bioenzyme in 500 ml water bottle. You can use a spray water bottle, 500 ml water and 15 ml citrus fruit bioenzyme. And you some people wash it, use it for washing. It is very good for, I have not done it, let me tell you, but fruit and veggie wash. So you need to put 10 ml bioenzyme in a bowl of 100 ml, 100 ml. And I will try this in the next month when my new batch of orange peel is ready, orange citrus fruit peel will be ready. I will try this definitely, because insecticides and pesticides are used in growing the vegetables. So I have heard and people have told me that this is very effective in washing the vegetables, and we should try for it. So I'm planning to do it next month once my new batch is ready. So toilet cleaner, you put 100 ml of bioenzyme in sink or toilet, undiluted. ऐसे ही अगर आपको ड्रेनेज पाइप में समटाइम्स अगर कुछ छोटा सा, जनरली आई पुट इट 10 to 20 ml or 30 ml in वॉश बेसिन, बट जो बड़े ड्रेनेज होल्स होते हैं उसमें हम 100 ml डाल सकते हैं. And then car wash, it is very good. I have tried this. 30 ml in 100 ml of water, and then you can wipe the car with it. उसमें पूरा आपको कार को नहलाने की जरूरत नहीं है
Yes.
बायोएंजाइम वाटर, because that is a wrong thing. We should not waste water in washing the car. And dishwash, you can use 2 cups bioenzyme or 15 soap nuts in 2 cup water. So ये I have not tried. I have not tried this. बट फर्टिलाइजर और पेस्टिसाइड तो बहुत अच्छा है ये, 150 1:50 रेशियो में विथ वाटर. बहुत प्लांट वेरी वेरी गुड. दिस आई हैव ट्राइड फॉर ऑलमोस्ट ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ प्लांट्स. और जब ब्लूम वेजिटेबल वाला ग्रो करते हैं तो बहुत सारे इंसेक्ट्स आते हैं, तो इट इज वेरी, ऑल द बायोएंजाइम्स एक्चुअली दे आर गुड. दे एक्ट एज इंसेक्टिसाइड टू, बट बेस्ट गार्लिक पील वाला लगा था मिक्स विथ ड्राई चिलीज, green chilies.
So I think such you have mentioned a very important point, because you must also know that once you've created a bioenzyme, you need to know in what proportion can you use it in for different applications, like for example
Hmm.
floor cleaning, or for example kitchen gas cleaning. You
Uh,
mentioned for
I
food,
have one
this acts
picture
as
to
a,
show you. I have one picture. Sorry, I am interrupting. I have one
that's
picture to
okay.
show you for insecticide. Just let me take this.
Yes. So anybody who has any questions can ask them, so that we can, also,
So,
clarify
this
what you have confusion
this
around.
बायोएंजाइम इज माय फेवरेट बिकॉज ये मेरे प्लांट्स के लिए बहुत अच्छा है. गार्लिक वाला, कैन यू सी? ये शायद
Uh,
आपको प्रिंट दिख रहा होगा, बट यू कैन सी दिस पिक्चर्स. ये गार्लिक
yes,
पील्स
we
हैं
can see that.
एंड
Yes,
हाँ एंड ड्राई चिलीज हैं. ओके,
yes.
सो दिस इज वेरी गुड फॉर प्लांट्स जिसमें वो वाइट फ्लाइज और मिली बग्स इन्फेक्ट करते.
Okay, got it. Got it. So I think जो आपने भी mention किया, that was for chilies and garlics, that you can use it for insecticides, and also any kind of particular problems we are facing with plants while growing them. Like you've mentioned, that are kinds of insects that come up, any issue with the plant in their leaves, and also other purposes. So most of our clarity is done, most of our understanding is done, and thank you for such a detailed discussion with respect to bioenzymes, because you clearly mentioned the do's and don'ts and what you can specifically do as in contribution from your end to understand how you can make bioenzymes and how it is beneficial for you and for all the people around you. I think most of it is clarified. So I am just waiting for certain people to point out certain questions, so that anything can be done. But also being somebody who has learned and tried and tested with respect to bioenzymes, there's one issue that people kind of put it on across is they kind of see some froth which is coming on, on the bioenzymes. That is a very specific question. Like, is the bioenzyme made, created? So that's basically because of they find fungus into it, like, right? And anything we find fungus is through it, our first particular idea is that we just throw it away. But for bioenzymes, it's a better cause, because that's when you've started to understanding that fermentation is happening, and that's a good sign for a bioenzyme
That's
to
a
be
good sign
made.
actually.
Yeah, that's a
हाँ.
nice and a great sign for it. All you have to do is just to mix that across and then again go back to your thing. So the signs of froth and fungus that you find into bioenzymes are a good signer, and it's basically that your bioenzymes is in the process of being created. So this is one tip that I'd like to share it to people. But if
And
anybody else has, they can share it out. Yeah, please continue, Pallavi.
in any case, if you feel that your bioenzyme is not properly made and it is you feel that it is not good for you to use, then without any guilt you can throw it in some water body. वो naturally you will contribute. वो आपका जो आपके हिसाब से ठीक बायोएंजाइम नहीं है, वो फिर भी उस वाटर बॉडी के लिए अच्छा होगा. अगर आपको ऐसा लग रहा है, लाइक आई विल शेयर विद यू दैट जो 50 लीटर्स वाला एक्सपेरिमेंट था मेरा, जिसमें हमने सिर्फ ऑरेंज फ्रूट पील्स यूज किए थे, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ द कंटेनर व्हाट आई फील कि वो बार बार उसको खोलना एंड ऑक्सीजन को अलाउ करना अंदर मिक्स होना, बिकॉज बायोएंजाइम्स के लिए एनारोबिक कंडीशन, एब्सेंस ऑफ ऑक्सीजन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कंडीशन. तो उस वजह से उसमें बहुत सारे फायर ब्रैट्स इंसेक्ट्स के लार्वा दिखे हमें. और आई वॉज वेरी सैड क्योंकि मेरा पूरा 50 लीटर्स के कंटेनर में ऐसा हो गया था. तो आई स्टार्टेड लुकिंग कि अब क्या किया जाए. तो देन आई आफ्टर 3 months आई अलाउड इट टू रिमेन देयर, एंड आफ्टर 3 months आई स्ट्रेन्ड इट और फिल्टर किया हमने उसको भी बॉटल्स में स्टोर करके, नॉट फॉर फ्लोर क्लीनिंग एंड ऑल, बट हमने उसको प्लांट्स में खूब यूज किया. सो इन एनी केस अगर आपको ऐसा लग भी रहा है कि फंगस आ गया है या फिर कुछ लार्वा इंसेक्ट्स आ गए हैं, डोंट थ्रो इट, फिल्टर इट एंड यूज इट इन योर गार्डन. ओके, सो बायोएंजाइम का सबसे गुड पॉइंट ये है कि वो खराब नहीं होते हैं. दे डोंट हैव एनी एक्सपायरी डेट. और इवन अगर कुछ इंसेक्ट्स आपको दिख रहे हैं लार्व्स, बिकॉज दिस मेरा यही एक्सपीरियंस है कि जब जब बहुत ज्यादा ऑक्सीजन से एक्सपोजर मिला है या सनलाइट में रह गया, देन द लार्वा इज देयर.
All right. So I think, like you mentioned, that anyway, we don't have an expiry date for bioenzymes, like we have it for any other product. We've always come
Mm.
under due diligence that any product that we purchase has to be something that is made recently. We generally check out the dates for every product that we purchase.
Mm.
But this is no, this is a very different angle for bioenzymes, that the more it is older, the more it is better.
Huh.
The more it is new, and even if it gets it on the position of changing color or order,
Huh.
that doesn't change the way it is being operated and
Huh.
for the purpose which is being created,
Huh.
right?
Huh.
So I think that
Huh.
is again one of the better roads on which we are actually looking forward to make bioenzymes. I really look forward to that, like anybody who is creating bioenzymes or anybody who has anything else to ask for question, Pallavi is always available on her Instagram. She has her Instagram ID. Once after this conversation, I'm just gonna be ending this up live and then posting it on our page to understand and to know what bioenzymes are. If you want to learn anything more, have any queries related to it, you can always approach her and connect her. So I think a very, very detailed discussion happened today, and I'm really glad we had it, Pallavi.
Mm.
So it was during
Thank
the
you.
time when I was thinking about, I met Pallavi during Feeds and Streets. It was it was an eco-free kind of thing that happened in Gandhinagar. And on a
Mm.
brief conversation, I realized that she, as an educator, is also educating about not just the subjects that she's teaching to people, but also about the subjects that are very close to her. We
Mm.
generally think about, gaining certain knowledge in certain fields, and she's definitely does
Mm.
that and experimented that into her life. So
Mm.
thank you, Pallavi. We had a real, real
Thank you.
great time. I think Project
Thank
Amdavad
you.
as a institution or as a community itself is always striving to bring out better changes in terms of climate, in terms
Uh,
of management, and anything. So this is
and
really, really
this is
inspiring to us.
something, switching to sustainable living is, it should be mandatory for all of us, and we चाहे अच्छा लगे या ना लगे, we have to do it. We need to realize this, कि we have to mend our ways for our future generation,
I
because
think the
we are.
road to 2050 map is again the same thing. So it's not just because there is a climate suspicion happening or anything, but even as an individual, because
Uh,
everything begins with home, right? This is how I
uh,
see it, and this is how I was kept on pondering it. That for all the bigger pictures that we are finding into the environment, we are actually forgetting what are the repercussions of that particular thing happening to us individually. We may
mm,
use a particular, product for a certain time and then probably get over it, but we forget that these chemicals are someday also
mm.
bringing a lot of human health issues, right? These
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
chemicals.
बहुत सारा. Mm,
So for this is what I wanted to point out as well. Since we are doing this on a very end note, that all of these chemicals that we use in our homes, uh, we are using alas, we are using so different products. But at the end of it, the person who is doing that particular job for you is also suffering through
mm,
skin diseases because of the fact that these chemicals are into your life, right? And to protect
mm.
our future generation and to protect ourselves is also the liability that we think we have on ourselves. So
Yeah,
bioenzymes is
exactly.
just not a step, but I think it's a kind of a revolution that you do for your to do bring things from home. So yeah,
Uh,
that's on
yeah.
that note, I would like to really put this up.